Hey, are you thinking about expanding your business into the United States? As a Nigerian American, I get asked this question a lot because I still have people who have very close ties to Nigeria, very close ties to other nations who are considering expanding their businesses into the United States. And so in this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to break down some of the benefits, some of the challenges, and what you should consider if you are trying to make this move. First things, benefits. Some of you are like, you don't need to tell me twice, I already know. But just in case you don't, there are a couple of benefits that are available to you if you decide to expand into these waters. First thing is you have access to a larger workforce. If there are things that require a specialized skill set, you're able to really choose the best and the brightest from across the globe by expanding your reach, by expanding beyond your immediate borders. And so consider that. The other thing is that for whatever it is that you're selling, you're also expanding that opportunity. So you're allowing yourself to put your products and your services in front of more people, right? Thereby increasing your access to buyers and overall increasing your income pool. There are other things that are sometimes helpful. I know when it comes to certain elements, different economies have different strengths. So sometimes diversifying the economies that you're involved in can be beneficial. So these are some things to consider in terms of benefits for you. But these benefits also come with challenges. Every coin has two sides, right? And so the first thing that I think is a really huge challenge, and is really why a lot of people come to me, is navigating the international laws. See, right now, if you have a business in Nigeria, in Ghana, in any other nation, in France, wherever it is, in Sweden, the laws that govern your business there are likely to vary greatly from the laws that we have here in the United States. And the United States in particular is a highly regulated society. So that means there are a lot of laws that you can accidentally mess up if you don't have someone guiding you along the ways and kind of signaling them to you. So that's one of the more significant challenges when it comes to coming over here. Some of those laws also span a wide variety. So it might be an employment rule. It might be a tax rule. It might be a business rule. There are just so many different rules, and they're so regulated that there are things that you just have to keep in mind when you're considering, okay, should I come? But when you are, here are a couple of things that you should first and foremost consider with regards to specifically the business side. One of the foundational pieces for business here in the United States is forming your legal entity. The reason why is because it allows you to create a separation between you and the business so that you can protect your personal assets and say business assets belong in the business bucket, personal assets belong in the personal bucket, right? And you create that separation so that as you're engaging with the world, you're able to say, hey, this keeps me out. All right. So the first thing that I usually counsel on, and what people usually come to me for, is figuring out what their legal entity is when they are coming to this country. Now, there are a couple of different types, and I'm going to run through them really quickly because I want you to be aware when you're expanding. The default one is a sole proprietor. That means it's just you. There's no limited liability. You are at risk. If you come here and you just start running your business, but you don't have any separation in terms of between you and the business, you have a sole proprietor and all your personal assets are on the line. Another type is the LLC. That's one that you're going to hear about a lot. It's one of the more popular ones here in the United States. It stands for Limited Liability Company, and limited liability, reducing the liability, creating that separation between you and the business, is what it's known for. It also comes with some tax flexibility that is really unique to it as a form. So that is one. Another option is the corporation. The corporation is one that you might be more familiar with because it's the longer standing entity type. You usually see those when people are seeking out ways to make it easy for people to buy into a company and sell things and portions of it. The corporation is usually what people might default to, but you really can do the same thing with an LLC if it's structured appropriately. But figuring out what the right entity is for you is going to be something you're going to want to sit down and talk with an attorney with. The reason why I say that is you might be also considering what are the best ways to kind of take advantage of tax flexibility. That might differ depending on your background. Maybe you're someone who is a United States citizen, but you now live in another country, but you still have the benefits of being a US citizen, or being a US resident. There might be some things that you can take access that might not be available to someone else. So you're going to want to look at your unique specific situation in order to decide which entity should I go with. The second thing that I want you to consider once we're done considering our entity type is I want you to think about the name. So here's an interesting thing, and then people in the US get this confused as well. Our rules that are about our business law are different from our rules about branding. So if you have a business that is brand reliant, that means distinguishing yourself in the marketplace with your name, your logo, your slogans, and things like that is important. You need to make sure that you're securing your rights to use that name in this nation. You might have done it in another country, but unless you worked with someone who helped you get some type of international coverage through some of the things that are available, you're likely not protected here. Even if you have the domain name, you still want to make sure that you secure the rights associated with that name or that logo or whatever those branding elements are. Since we're talking about forming the business, it would be the name. So what I would say is there's an element of protecting the name as it relates to the business, right? And that's going to be on a more state by state basis. And then there's one that's about protecting the name on an on a national level, right? Or throughout the US. That's going to be more like your trademarks. The way we do it in our firm is we approach them both at the same time because it makes sense for most of our clients. So I would say in your step 2, you're looking at ways to make sure you're securing the name, both on the business side and the brand protection side, particularly if you have a brand reliant type of business. Okay, gone through 2 steps. The third step is you're going to have to find what we call a registered agent. A registered agent is simply a person or a company that is responsible for being kind of the point of contact for legal matters. That if somebody wants to sue you, if somebody's trying to find you, they can leave notice with your registered agent. You are required to have that regardless of the state that you form in. Every state requires that the LLCs, corporations, things like that are formed, have a registered agent. So you need to make sure that you have one as well. Now, one of the questions that might come up for you are, what state should I form my business in terms of that, and how do I find a registered agent for that particular state? There are different services that are available that help you find registered agents. We work in terms of with our clients to help them connect. We connect them to different registered agents here in the States. But the other question that I kind of alluded to is figuring out what state do you form in. That is a loaded question. I talk about this in some of my other videos, but just to touch on it for you here is that when we're talking about forming and choosing a state here in the US, most people will say Delaware, Wyoming. Those are great because they have long-standing history. Their laws have been challenged and tested and true. But one of the things that are most critical for deciding what state to form your business in is where you will be conducting most of your business. So if you are somebody who's traveling abroad and you frequently stay in Massachusetts or you frequently stay in Texas, you're always there, or Georgia, right? And that's where you'll be conducting the majority of your business. That will be where headquarters will be because you're always there. Then you're going to want to form your business, or you might want to consider forming your business in that particular state. Again, it's going to be an individual case-by-case basis, but that is a strong argument in favor of the state where you are because it's going to simplify things for you. It's going to help you keep stress low by not having to worry about what's happening here, what's happening there. There are benefits to other states for sure, but sometimes there's a benefit in peace of mind and simplicity and clarity. So I want you to keep that in mind. All right, so after you find your registered agent, you're now ready to file your documents with the Secretary of State for whatever state you decide to form with. You want to make sure that you file the documents appropriately. There are little things that can make it seem really easy because it's like sometimes you can go online and fill out the form, but there are little nuances that you might not be aware of. I have another video where I talk about some things to consider when you're creating your own business, but those are some of the reasons why it's usually helpful to have somebody walk you through it to make sure that when you file your documents, you're filing them appropriately. The other thing that I would say is that in the US, when when it comes to creating your entity, your LLC or corporation, you can file your document, but that's not really enough to really access the protection that is available through these entities. You're going to want to do some additional work. You're going to want to form or write what we call for LLCs, your operating agreements for your corporation's bylaws. Those are rules that will govern the way you carry out your business. And so you're going to want to do that. You don't need to file these documents with the United States government for the most part, but it is helpful to have them on hand. Depending on when, I will say this, if you decide to expand to other nations outside of the US in the future, they may require you to have these documents and have them authenticated, have them notarized in order to verify how true those documents here are in the United States. So just keep in mind that we're talking about the documents that you file, but then the documents that you create on file for you and how they are important for you in terms of protection, but they're also important for you in terms of expansion. All right, so we've spoken about 4 things: choosing the right entity, securing the name, finding your registered agent, filing your documents. 5th thing, you're going to need a tax ID. You're going to need a tax ID. It's also called an employment identification number. And this number is important when it comes to taxes. Listen, the United States does not play when it comes to taxes. And you want to make sure that you set yourself up appropriately to be able to comply with those rules as you come here, right? So you're going to want to get your tax ID. Now, if you are not a U.S. citizen, you're not going to be able to do it, or a resident. You might run into some challenges. There's a more formal, longer process that's required for you, but it's not impossible. You'll just really want to work with somebody one-on-one who has navigated that process before. We've done it for our clients, where we're able to kind of interface with them and the IRS to make sure that the IRS has the necessary information from them and is able to formulate that for them. But you need your tax ID number. And the reason why you need the tax ID number is also for this next step, because after you get your tax ID number, I want you to open up a business account. Business accounts, keeping your business stuff separate from your personal stuff, is one of the key critical elements of protection in the US when it comes to your business. So you want to make sure that you have a business account, and you can only get that by having that tax ID number. Most, if not all, banks are going to require that from you. So once you have that set up, you have your tax ID. That was step 5. Step 6 was your business account. You're able to interact, to get paid in the United States, to expand your services truly, to keep your documentation clean here in the United States. So get that business account. Finally, you want to start being a good business owner in the US. You want to pay your taxes. You want to comply with the rules. It's going to take some time to get used to the rules in the United States. And it's okay. I will tell you again, there are US-based businesses who have only been here who are a little confused. You're not alone, but get that support. Find the tax professional, find an accountant, find an attorney like myself that can walk you through those particular things that are a little bit different and say, hey, these are the things that are important to the US. Now, as I alluded to earlier, our bucket when it comes to business is different from our bucket when it comes to branding. And as a result, I want to help you kind of navigate both of those. If you're trying to figure out what entity should I choose, we have a quiz, an assessment that we've created just for you. Go ahead and complete that, and that's going to give you some guided notice and information about the different entities that will work for you as a business owner. Now, if you're trying to decide, how do I protect my brand here in the United States, we have another assessment that's going to kind of assess what your protection is currently and tell you what you can do and cater to you the results, what you can do to take it to the next level. I'll put the links to those both in the description box below, because you want to make sure that as you're protecting your business, you're protecting your brand. In closing, I want you to make sure that you are doing what it takes to make sure that your foundation is strong as you expand here, right? We want to make sure that the entry into this new market is one that is done with wisdom. And so we want you to make sure you review all of these steps we just discussed. Make sure you're protecting both the business and the brand, and that you're getting your team of advisors assembled so that you know what to do. If you have any questions about this process, my firm is always available, TOS Legal. If you go to toslegal.com, you'll be at our website. You can schedule a consultation with us. You want to follow us on social media, we have that as well. It's at TOS Legal on most platforms. If you're somebody who likes to listen to stuff on the go, we have podcasts. We have different things to help you, because our goal is to help you protect what you've created, protecting your business and your brand. All right. I know that this was kind of nuanced, but Again, I know that there are a ton of you who have these questions. If you know people who are expanding, send this, share this to them, with them. And let's really build strong foundations, okay? All right, that's all I have for you. I hope you have an amazing week ahead. Talk to you soon. Bye.